I am here vibing with one of Jamaica's most multifaceted musical sons. A man who has worn many hats across the Jamaican music landscape. A promoter, producer, MC extraordinaire, and singer. His parents named him Thomas Lincoln Cowan, but we know him as
Tommy Cowan.
Dr. Thomas Cowan. Great man.
Yes, indeed.
All is well, sir?
Good. God is good.
Reach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Yes, Father Cowan. Say all is well, sir?
I'm not sure if all is well enough, but we give thanks
We give
for
thanks.
everything that God has provided, because if it's not well today, it's going to be well tomorrow.
Amen.
Yes, His promises are true.
Amen, brother. Talk to us, though. Early life, place of birth.
Newmarket, St.
St.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Actually, in a place my mother called it Industrial Park. I realized recently that the place I was actually born was called Cape.
Cape.
Right. But there you have Newmarket, and coming up you have a little village called Moko.
Okay.
Moko in St. Elizabeth. And in it, my mother called the little property Industrial Park. So I was actually born in Cape, Newmarket, Moko, St. Elizabeth, St. Bess.
St. Bess. How many siblings?
Well, I had 9 brothers and 2 sisters.
2 sisters.
Yes.
Okay. Was quite a few of you, man.
Yes, I said so. They didn't have television and radio. And
I
all
can
that.
imagine. I can imagine. Yes, you went to school where, though?
First at a place called Happy Grove Infant School, if you want to call that, and then Nightingale Grove School, and then I went to Halfway Tree.
Oh, so you moved to Kingston?
Yes,
At what age?
at about 7.
At about 7. The entire family, or
No, just me.
just you? How come?
Oh, well, that's a story that I don't know if you want to hear, but I guess because we had so many of us, they saw the best for us.
Okay.
But what happened is that I had come to Kingston once with my mother, and another time with my father, and I like Kingston. But back in the country, you usually keep the drinks or your tea, whatever, warm in a thermos. My father got a thermos from the United States, and he said, I'm putting that thermos up there. And he threatened us and said, if anybody break that thermos, I'm going to send them to Kingston. So I broke the thermos. At the time it had a very thin layer inside of a
Right.
glass thing, yeah. So I broke the thermos and they sent me to Kingston.
Oh.
So I got my fulfillment there.
Yeah, all the Kingston part of it, though. You left fairly young, St. Elizabeth, that is. What memory do you have growing up, financially speaking, before you left, though?
Oh, financially? Financially, well, the only thing I can remember financially was that my father was a preacher.
Oh, yes, Methodist, no?
Yeah, Methodist, at Newmarket Methodist Church. And to see money, he would have the collection in a little box, like a little grip. And then he would leave it open. I only understood later in life why he left it open. And I guess that was to keep us honest. That don't be frightened of money. But it was just copper.
Okay,
you know.
okay.
And then, of course, the only other thing is that he was like a produce dealer, would buy pimento and natto and things like that. And then we were allowed to sweep up after the pimento.
After you're done.
What is left in the dust, we would sweep it up, blow it out, and then we would be allowed to sell it to him.
Okay, okay.
So, but the most money we would ever think of was like, a shilling if we got to a shilling, but 3 pence, 4 pence, and we would use that.
Yeah. So growing up, it wasn't a poverty type of vibe?
No, because my father, amazing guy, thought that everything was like a blessing. So when we ate the fruits from the tree, or we had a lot of breadfruit tree, more or less in our yard, and we were taught, like, we never knew that because you couldn't buy saltfish, why when you roast the breadfruit, you'd have to, he taught us how to dip it into oil with salt in it, and that thing tasted
Nice.
so good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and when bread, we could not eat anymore. When we were out of bread, he always kept one slice also in the in a, what we call a bread basket, which was in the ceiling, and he says, "Give joy because bread is in the basket." Bread would always be in the basket.
One slice.
So we said, "Wow, yeah." And
That's deep, you know.
yeah, man.
Yeah, man,
And then we also grew to think that chicken was a thing you had on Sunday. And if you have a piece of beef, it's on Saturday to make beef soup. But we all thought this was just how life went. I didn't know differently until
until you grew up.
No, until I come to Kingston.
Oh, Kingston. Oh, the thing, the different Kingston side
Yeah,
now.
this was just life. So when you got a pair of shoes and you're going to church, and all the pictures that I would have seen of myself as a youngster, there was no shoes.
Yeah, the shoes in your hand.
But I thought this was the, oh, you walk with the shoes in your hand to church. Yeah.
You know that vibe there?
Yeah, that vibe. Yeah, man. But that was amazing.
Yeah, so you came to Kingston. You remember what year was that? That was about 51, 52?
I remember 53 when we were celebrating the 300th anniversary of England. I was still in the country in 53, so I probably came around 54.
Okay. And when you came to Kingston, where did you reside?
Delacree Road.
Delacree Road. So where I saw somewhere.
Delacree Road, under Miss Fan Mango Tree, my brethren sit down with me, singing songs of sweet harmony in Delacree Road. So you're here first to hear that song.
But I saw somewhere in the literature that you resided along Maxwell Avenue as well.
It's Maxwell Avenue, and yes, I also 133 Maxwell Avenue, corner of Queens Avenue.
Okay.
There's a church there now and a school. But I had family there, which was my cousin. We called her Aunt Ive, and then her mom, which Aunt Fan, lived at Delacree Road. So at one point I was with Aunt Ive there, and then further down on Maxwell Avenue. Yeah, I mean at Delacree Road.
Okay. So when you came to Kingston, you mentioned that you enrolled in Halfway Tree Primary.
Yes.
And in Halfway Tree Primary, that's when the music started to become a part of you, or you weren't dabbling or interested in music yet?
Well, my music interest actually started from in the country.
Oh, okay.
Because when I say interest, like, wow, what's this? Because being exposed to music, my father got a gramophone. It's a thing that you wind.
Yes, man, wind it up.
Wind it up. And he got, I think they got two songs. I remember two of the songs, Home on the Range and Jane and Louise Will Soon Come Home, you know. And I thought to myself that I wanted to figure out where was this thing coming from. I thought there was a man, a small head man inside of the thing, you know. So that was my first interest. And then coming to Delacree Road, my Aunt Fan, she was going to Methodist Church, so she's at Lyndhurst Methodist. And one day, she brought home a young man. Well, a young man came over to sing at the house. And that was, I think, my first interest. That was Jimmy Tucker.
Jimmy Tucker?
The legendary Jimmy Tucker. The one who
Junior Tucker
uncle.
Oh, okay.
The one who sings the national anthem. And so, this guy sang, and wow, I was just, and she gave him a lot of sandwiches. He ate a lot of sandwiches, man. So, well, if I could do that, I'd get
You
a
get
lot
sandwich.
of sandwiches. But on Delacree Road, right next door to me, there's a gym in a man's yard, and then Jackie Edwards,
Great, Jackie.
the late Jackie Edwards, would come and train there. But Delacree Road gave me quite a bit of exposure to people, you know, and that's where I started to learn more by my friends and so forth about music on Delacree Road.
Yeah.
So,
And in that general vicinity, people like Bob Andy and John Holt was in that area at the time whilst you were growing up?
yeah, this is what happened. Actually, on Delacree Road, I was able to see Don Drummond's lived down the road, and we heard about Don Drummond's. You had Jackie Edwards, you had Owen Gray. The late Errol Thompson used to live down, he was a disc jockey.
E.T.
E.T., right? And then down the corner of the road, you had Lord Comic, Count Machuki. Those are the early DJ guys. And then, of course, down the bottom of the road, we had John Holt, who I came to know because we would go over to Maxwell Park and play games, football and whatnot have you. And then, and that's where I met John Holt and Keith Anderson.
Bob.
Keith, Bob, I thought he was a kid, and I still don't know up to this day, at Maxwell Park Children's Home. But I think he had an aunt who worked
over there, okay.
And so he was there, and there was a one piano. I don't know what
At Maxwell Park?
Yeah, under a shed. And they would come and they would just play punka tonka 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 tonka, and everybody just play this. And then we got exposed to as time went by, we got exposed to John Holt, because there was some we heard that this guy could sing, and then we would go and there was a Majestic Theatre down the bottom, and he would go down there and win the talent contest, and everybody would cry when John Holt sing.
Oh yes?
Sometimes I cry when I'm lonely, and that was his signature
Was a tearjerker.
Yeah, man. And of course, like I tell you, you had Jimmy Tucker, who we knew, and there was another guy, Teddy Brown, and there was still another guy called Hugh, can't remember his name, but anyway, they were kind of involved in the Veer John's
Opportunity
Hour. Hugh Francis,
okay.
Yeah.
So after 3 primary, eventually you moved on to...
At half 3 primary, yeah, I got a little involved now.
Okay.
In the little concerts, in the term at the end of the day, just singing, and I that time I started to like Pat Boone.
Okay.
And so I was singing Be Faithful, Darling. That was my favorite Pat Boone song.
Okay.
Right. So I had some,
Yes. Eventually, did you got involved with the Miracles whilst at half 3 primary, or it was after?
No. What happened with the Miracles now, I was just about in transition to go to Walgrove.
Where was Walgrove located?
Avon Park Road on Lyndhurst.
Okay.
Right.
Heard the name before, but never knew where it was located.
Right. If you see the whole, what is it, basketball, netball thing with the Walgrovians who were leading basketball players for years ago, it came out of that institution.
Yeah, I remember them very well, man.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So you had the private schools of Walgrove, Gainstead, and others that were there, you know. Somewhere in that transition, they were doing a concert at St. Hugh's High School, and I was asked to come there to sing. So I went there, of course, and did my Be Faithful Darling. So while walking back now, so into Crossroads, and right by the Crossroads post office, I'm getting prepared to take the bus. These guys who actually sang also on the concert came up across to me and said to me, "Hey, come here. Basically I said, you want to join the group?" Join group. I said, "Yeah." So what's the name of the group? I said, "We call ourselves the Miracles. Why you join the group?" So I said to them, "So why you want me to join the group?" Right? Because I didn't even really consider myself like a singer. So, and they turned to me and said, "Well, we're not there do it though, you know.
The girls, they love you.
Them like you." So you'd be an asset, you know,
yes.
to this thing. So I decided to
But the
join.
wise man.
Yeah, man.
So you became a part of the Miracles.
Miracles.
And as you say that though, you are the only surviving member of that group at the moment.
No.
No? Who's still alive?
At the Miracles, Jerry, a guy Jerry, but I'm not sure if Jerry's in Jamaica because he was living in Canada.
Oh, okay.
And Icon.
Icon.
His name is Errol Kong.
Errol Kong.
But he sings and he still goes to China and those places.
Okay.
Young Chinese.
I know Williams.
Jamaican at the time.
Okay.
No, he's
Oh.
a man with a beard and he's a farmer in St. Elizabeth. But he still sings.
Okay, cool. Because as I said, somewhere out there it says that you were the only surviving member of the group.
No, of the three. Actually, three that most people know of the Jamaicans. Yeah.
Right, so when the group...
Because the group came down to three.
Oh, so hold on, let me ask you a question.
And there's still other member of the Jamaicans called Flats Hilton.
Okay, so it wasn't the same makeup from Miracles that transitioned to the Jamaicans?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
But as we went on,
Members changed.
Members changed, and then eventually we came down to three members.
Oh.
Who everybody knew as we got more popular.
Okay.
But most people would have known the three of us. So Martin and Norris died. Yeah.
Okay. So the Miracles now was a thing, and eventually how many of you were in the group?
5.
5 of you. You guys entered, I think, in 1966. I think it was the Pop and Ska Festival.
Pop and Mentor.
Pop and Mentor.
Competition.
And you guys won that year?
Yeah.
Which song?
I think it's a song called Waited So Long.
Waited So Long.
I've waited so long to get this dance with you. Waited so long. Ernest Smith, who was in that competition too that year, and you know he's always jiving this. He still sings this song.
Okay.
Because you remember he got beaten by it, but that was and then at that I think we won for 2 years.
So you guys won 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
65 and Pop and Mentor, if my memory is correct, became the Jamaican Festival Song Competition?
No, in 66, what really happened in 66, they decided to split the competition into a song and a performance. So one was a song. You could just enter the song. Or you could just enter the Pop and Mentor competition. Or you could enter the festival song. That year they split it. So the Pop and Mentor competition was about your choreography, your song, you know.
The whole package.
The whole package. While the song now. So in 66, Toots did Bam Bam.
Bam Bam.
So when Toots won, we won also that year. And we got a gold, thing which I still have. a gold coin kind of a.
Oh, memorabilia type of thing.
Yes.
So Toots won the song and you guys won the Pop and Mentor section.
One mentor.
And in 1967 now, you guys won the festival competition with Baba
festival
Boom
song
Time.
competition.
Correct?
Yeah, with Baba Boom.
Mad.
Yes.
Who came up with the song? It was a collective thing or one person wrote the song?
You know that is the but Norris and myself wrote the song.
Okay.
Norris and myself actually lived very close together.
Okay.
And so Norris would walk across to my house and we would collaborate about writing songs in the days. And it's not very often that you actually like wanted to write a song, because a group like ours was kind of based off the likings of the Drifters and the Temptations, 5-man group and what have you. But we saw the impact, I believe, maybe of what Toots was having from that competition. And we decided, so okay, we wanted to win it. So we went into it.
Yes. So in 67, you guys won that competition. That song was done for Duke Reid.
Duke Reid and the Treasure Eyes.
Treasure Eyes. That song also charted. So outside of winning the competition, it was top of the charts?
Oh yes, man. Everything, man. Yeah, man. Baba Boom. I mean, I'm still getting called. I'm going into New York on the 5th of August to sing Baba Boom.
Yes.
Can you believe it? Yeah.
I can't believe it, man.
And there is, if you check on your internet or whatever, you will see where there's a Baba Boom festival.
Oh, there is?
In Europe, of course.
Oh.
And that song has been done like maybe dozens and dozens of times. The rhythm is still being done over and over and over.
And as you said that though, let me ask you, so business is occurring around that?
Still. People call me to the special.
Man. Yeah, man, but in terms of the song being sampled and redone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. You guys also did another song for Duke Reid, I think, Things You Say You Love.
Things You Say You Love. You're going to lose. Yeah.
Okay. You know that song?
And that again was written by Norris and myself.
Nice. Oh, nice. So it was only 2 songs that you guys did for the Duke?
No, we did a song called Woman Go Home.
But I saw where it says studio want to do that for Coxon. No?
Woman Go Home.
Yeah.
No, I think that's Duke Reid.
A Duke Reid.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys did some work with. Oh well, I never seen a name on that for you. Is for Coxon is Chain Gang and Jamaica. Oh, Jamaica.
Jamaica. Oh, Jamaica. Little island shining in the sea. There's a dark-eyed girl there waiting. Yes, she's waiting just for me. Whoa, down in Jamaica. Oh, Jamaica. Yeah, man.
So those were the 2 songs you guys did around by Coxon at the time.
Amazingly. You know,
Amazingly.
Jamaica. Benny King.
Really?
Yeah.
How that work out?
I don't know. So we're doing it in Jamaica. So that's why we know it was our song. He must have written it for us.
Yes. Then now, some of the other songs. At this time, did you guys change over to the Jamaicans yet from the Miracles? Or it was still the Miracles?
We were the Jamaicans.
You were the Jamaicans already?
Yeah. And at Coxon, we actually started out at Coxon as the Miracles. But the songs, Coxon realized what had happened and put them out. I think there's even one of the songs sung by the Jamaicans Festival Song Winners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he made sure that he had the Jamaicans.
Jamaicans on it.
Yeah.
Yes. Some of the other songs before the group broke up were songs like Take Warning, Sing Freedom. And it's a Woman Go Home. Woman Go Home. Peace and Love. Feel the Festival.
Spirit. Cool Night.
Please Don't Stop the Wedding.
Yeah. We have a string of songs. There's actually an album there with about 22 songs.
Yes?
Yeah.
Who released that?
It was released on a label in Europe. I'll probably show you a copy of
Okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah, and if you look online, you see it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you guys did a solid body of work together before the group.
Yeah, we did quite a bit. Yeah.
Why the group broke up?
Oh, I think I wouldn't even think that it broke up. It kind of drifted apart. Because at the time, I guess as each person matured, they were trying to find out maybe a better life for themselves. Norris had moved to the United States. First thing, Icon went on a ship. Those were the days when you get a ship work was one
You
of the
come
big
back, you're nice.
and Kong went on a ship. Flats, Owen Hilton went to the United States also to study. Jerry, well, I don't know, I think, but Jerry moved to Canada. So all this was happening, but actually everybody started moving out before Norris, Martin, and myself. And then Norris moved out. So I was left here, and Martin, and I guess that's how I got into other
Things.
areas of the music side, whatever else I did.
So that is when you went to work with Byron Lee, Dynamics.
Yeah, I started actually working with Byron Lee before they actually went away.
Okay.
Because working with Byron Lee and how that started, I think when we won the festival song competition, we were meeting Byron Lee and we had a show as festival winners at the Ritz Theatre with Byron as a band. And Byron called me and said, listen, you need to come see me. You need to be more into the music than just singing. I said, then why? I saw, because you know what happened? In those days, you had a lead singer in a group and you had a leader of a group.
Okay.
I was the leader of the group. Norris was the lead singer.
Okay.
So we all sang around Norris. So whenever we're going to, I'm the one to prepare. For instance, if a contract is done, I'm the one. If I'm to sing, who picked the songs? The leader picked the songs. So you saw me preparing my guys and talking to them.
Okay.
I said, wow, this guy's a... So he invited me and explained to me what he was about.
Okay.
And that's how come I joined him. And in that joining, Open Dynamic Sounds, that's part of that.
Oh, so it was after you joined him that Dynamic Sounds was
Yeah,
open?
no, there was no Dynamic Sounds.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you joined Dynamic Sounds.
No.
No.
No, I opened Dynamic Sounds with Byron. Yeah, man.
Man.
Yeah, because he said, he showed me. But what happened, he as a private person, as a private musician, had the rights for himself for Atlantic Records.
Oh,
Right.
I did not know that.
Right. So he had the rights for Atlantic Records, and he gave it to West Indies Records Limited to distribute. And he was not too happy with that situation.
Oh.
So he said to me, he had this, but because Atlantic Records is a powerful label.
Very.
I mean, Otis Redding, Aretha Franklin, the Drifters, the Platters, name it. All of these guys were on Atlantic Records and Atco. And so I went there, observed it, I came back to him and I said to him, listen, you need to take your label away and let us do it privately, promote it. So, so Byron, we decided to take his label. So I went to his house and we operated from his garage in the distribution of that alongside his own Byron Lee records. And then West Indies Records, so I don't know what happened, they had some electrical fire, whatever. It burned down. And so it was up for grabs. And we decided to go and buy it and open it. And now we opened it and he applied for other labels. Motown, Polydor, Columbia, you know, the likes, and became a powerful unit. And
Has to
so
be.
I now went there as sales manager, then became marketing
Marketing
manager
manager.
there.
So you were interfacing with all of these Atlantic and Motown.
Yeah,
And
in a very good way, because at the same time, if you remember, Jamaica was really making some amazing music, you know. Coxsone on one side with his Delroy Wilsons and that's a whole lot.
right.
And alternation. Oh yeah, that one set here and for all these songs were some of these songs of what Delroy did were actually American songs.
Right,
I
right.
heard him and we did them over. And then we were getting, and we were now advising these labels what to do, what songs. And then you had Meritones playing the songs.
Okay.
Meritone would take a B-side record and make it a hit in Jamaica, and so we would do the same kind of a stuff. So we now became, and I also became almost like an A&R person for these labels. So through this association, I got to meet the leaders of the, like Berry Gordy from
network,
Motown,
forget work.
Amit and Emmett Ertegun from Black Jews. I never know of Black Jews before, from Atlantic Records and Tommy Dowd and these guys, you know. And so we were picking, and they loved us because we could pick hit songs. So at one stage and 1 year, we had picked like the 12 months of the #1 songs for the year.
Dynamics.
Yeah, out of Dynamics, we were picking and advising them and telling them this one can work, that won't work, I know. So, yeah.
Whilst at Dynamics now, you started to dabble in production.
Yeah.
You started producing some mega people in the space. That's when you started working with Inner Circle and Jacob.
Yeah, because, okay, but at Dynamics we had Vic Taylor, we had Keith Lynn, somewhat we had some Ken Lazarus here, Barry
Ken
Biggs.
Lazarus.
And that label also had a blind singer, Adina Edwards.
Adina, okay.
We picked up from King Street, playing on the street side, and gave her #1, produced a #1 song with her, Don't Forget to Remember.
Forget to remember, yep.
You know, but then the Inner Circle, I started with Inner Circle now as a band there. My development more of Inner Circle.
So you were managing them at that time?
Yes. And out of that association came Cherry O Baby.
Eric Donaldson.
Yeah, I produced Cherry O Baby.
You produced Cherry O Baby.
Yeah.
You also produced Blue Boot.
Blue Boot,
And
yeah.
the Cry of the Common People.
Love of the Common
Love of the Common People. I was just say Cry of the Common People.
Yeah.
Love of the Common People.
Yeah.
So 3 of Eric Donaldson's biggest songs were produced by
T. Cowan.
Tommy Cowan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You also produced people like Israel Vibration.
Israel Vibration, but that's a talent corporation.
Oh, they were a Talent Corporation.
Yeah, which is after
Yeah,
Dynamics,
man, we'll
yeah.
get to Talent Corporation. Earl Zero and Junior Tucker, Leroy Smart, and those people, you were producing those people at the or a Talent Corporation.
Talent Corporation.
Talent. Oh, so yes, we are getting the info right there.
Yes.
You produced an album, I think it was a collection. That is when you formed Top Ranking Records? Or
Top ranking label.
So it was during your Dynamics time or after Dynamics?
After Dynamics.
After Dynamics. You released an album, I think it's a collection of some of your work, and let me pronounce this correctly. Ras Clark Dub.
Ras.
Clark.
No, not Ras. Please pronounce
So it's the right word. So
Yes.
it's Ras Clark Dub.
That's right.
Okay.
It's not a bad word, it's
No.
an expression of the common people, if I may say so.
Who were on Ras Clark Dub?
Oh, I don't know. I think that most of that would have been Inner Circle.
Inner Circle.
I think most of that would have
And
been.
that is your work.
That was my work. I don't remember exactly who ended up on that, because we, on each A side now, when we start going A and B side and have the dub side, we would have put out the dub side on those. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I think that was my
Understood, understood. Yes, one of the issues that I had whilst doing the research is that it says the management aspect, you manage some people before the formation of Talent Corporation. But so some of the names that I came across that you manage, we know that you manage Inner Circle, right? With the great Jacob Miller and the works. Ross Michael and the Sons of Negus. And was that before or after or during Talent Corporation?
I think when I was at Dynamics, I did Inner Circle, and probably I had Junior Tucker because I had Junior Tucker from he was about 6 years old. And I did Adina Edwards there. I didn't do much more.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Yeah, but
So the others came at Talent Corporation?
Yeah.
Okay, so people know. So Zappo, that was a group which was led by the great Barry Salmon whilst he was young?
no, he was led by Barris.
But he was in
a
there?
Singer.
Oh, he was he wasn't the leader?
No, he wasn't the leader.
But he was a singer?
Yeah. You had Glenda Costa and Dwight Pinkney.
Okay.
Who was there, and also David Madden, who was there.
Zappo.
Oh man, am I good at memory?
I saw where it says you actually did some management work with D Brown?
Yeah, D Brown was D Brown was actually, must we say about D Brown? D Brown was even after that because you're talking about in 70s when you had a talent corporation.
Oh, okay, still at Talent.
At all of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
you had-
context purpose, Talent Corporation was created 1975
about 75.
in collaboration
76.
with you and the first wife, Valerie.
Right.
Valerie Chang?
Chan, yeah.
Chan.
That's her daughter. Yes. She's Shikisha.
Okay.
Right.
So that's how Talent Corporation came about. And under the Talent Corporation umbrella now, you had some, and that was at 1C Oxford Road.
Right.
That was one of the focal points of the music in the 70s.
Right.
Everybody who was
Yeah, because this is what happened. I had a very good association with Byron Lee. And it was in my heart, my whole thing was, what can I do? I actually saw a need, a real serious need for Jamaican music and Jamaican artists,
Right.
and how they were treated, and I thought they had something more in them than going up to 2 songs, and if you get a good round of applause, then come back and do another one.
Right.
So that's another
You wanted
story.
more for them.
The Epiphany series exposed artists like that when we were at Talent Corporation, where Gregory Isaacs would go up and do an hour, and Leroy Sibbles and Judy Mort, and we had these weekly concerts. But so when I went to and Byron, he blessed me, actually gave me money and 2 motor cars.
Oh, yes?
Even though I was leaving his organization, right? And I opened Talent Corporation. And so we went ahead. We had Jacob Miller in Inner Circle, Ross Michael and the Sons of Negus, Junior Tucker,
Israel Vibration.
Zappo, Muta Baruka was there too, Kiddos I, Tiger was there.
Israel Vibration.
Israel Vibration, no, I even saved them a little
Oh, you
bit.
saved them.
Because they were like a whole special thing. Because we also, in that whole run, had Peter Tosh.
Right.
We released Legalize It. We released Babylon Queendom.
You
We had
released
Bunny
Black Heart
Wailer.
Man for Bunny Wailer as well.
Right. And we also released, eventually released Roadblock for Bob Marley.
Oh, yes.
Which became #1. And Natty Dread.
Natty Dread.
Yeah. And we kind of stopped the association when Bob wanted us to release the album, but we couldn't do it because we realized this album going to be big.
Okay.
And the album, the more we sell to how the deal was set up, is the deeper we would get into trouble.
Oh, so that is how
Because-
Ireland ended up with it.
No, not just for the West Indies.
Oh, just okay.
Just for the Caribbean.
Okay. Oh,
So,
I
and
understand.
then Bob Marley's tour is another thing.
We soon get round to the Bob
But
Marley
we were
podcast
talking
too.
Israel Vibration now.
Yes.
Right. So Israel Vibration, we heard of these three guys through the 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay, because you became a member of the 12 tribes eventually. No?
Yes, I was a
Okay.
member also of 12 tribes.
Okay.
But and there's a guy called Hugh. Anyway, Hugh told us about Israel and boy that he really can't handle it, but he thinks he have talent. So he brought me the song. We're all gonna sing the same song. So I
The
said,
same
"Wow,
song.
this is a good start." And so I decided to take the three guys. They were actually living into some dread means on the compound of UWI,
Oh, okay.
University of West Indies. And they all three had polio. They're all three victims of polio. They walk on crutches.
I did not know that.
Right. Except for thing there who would walk with one, but they were all victims of polio. And they were actually living at one time in that tree. So Professor
One time
Golden,
on that tree?
Professor Golden, Mark Golden's father, was their doctor.
Oh, okay.
In a tree, not on
In
that
a tree?
They made a house tree at one point, and they were considered very rude.
Oh, okay.
Even though so I took Israel Vibration, and of course, they went on to become a big success.
Very
and
big success.
Toured the world and all over. I thought they were, you know what I thought to myself?
Yeah.
That they were the Whalers in a different form.
In a
God had made them in a different form. It was Peter, Bob, and Bunny. That's what I thought, yeah.
Yes. At Talent Corporation, you also did work with people like David Upson and John Holt,
Yes.
Toots and Ernest Smith and
Yeah.
Jack Radix and your now wife, Carlene Davis.
No, Carlene came after that.
After that, okay.
Carlene came when I went to Tough Gang.
To Tough, okay. In 1978, you emceed one of the most important events in the history of Jamaica's music and political life, One Love Peace concert.
I'm the producer of the One Love Peace concert.
Say that again.
I produced the One Love Peace concert. What really happened is this, that at 77,
Right.
I was doing some concerts.
Okay.
I did Reggae Sun and Ting.
Oh.
I was doing the Wednesday night Epiphany shows. And this is a story. This same property that you're now sitting in, I used to live here.
Oh, okay.
And I was friends with everybody. And Claudia Massop was a friend of mine.
Okay.
And Claudia lived in this house too.
This is the same answer?
Yeah, right. So Claudia stayed with me because he was a friend. And Claudia, in one of his exile, getting out of Jamaica, went to England. And then, remember Bob got shot?
Right.
And then he went away.
Right.
So he's in England. Claudia's in England. I got a call from Claudia. Claudia said to me, and I know the One Love Peace concert have many different stories.
Because as I heard I've seen where it says that Claudia and Bucky Marshall left Jamaica. So they had shared a prison cell.
Right.
Right? And it was a part of them kind of getting their thing on a level, so they decided to create something
I
to
heard
bring
that
you.
story to myself, but my story that I know
No.
is that Claudia called me from England and said to me, Tommy, Bob is coming home. Bob wants to come home. And I think it's a good opportunity for us to have a concert.
Oh.
So at first I said to myself, wow. Right. So I think to myself, well, okay. He want to come home and make some money.
Okay.
Let us put on a concert and make some money. So I says, well, you know, I said, well, the only way I can get involved in that, Bob called me. So Bob called me from England. I said, I want to come home and I want to do this concert. Right? And he would like me to get involved in it.
Okay.
So I should go and see Diane Jobson,
That
who is
was his lawyer.
at that Hope Road. So anyway, so I went up and we had conversations about this concert. And then, you know, the whole thing, Bob came in, all the crowd and everybody was, you know, Bob kids, them, Kimana and all of them used to run up and down in this place here. Because Bob would come here before that.
Okay.
Used to just come here and there were some girls next door that he liked and everything. And I had this place a long time. So anyway, Bob come and I went to Hope Road and him tell me now that him, okay, after everything settled down,
right,
let's do this concert. But him wanted a peace concert. He wanted a unity concert, so this changed the whole thing now.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just a money, is that a money-making concert no more?
A money-making thing. He wanted a unity concert and start to explain the concept to me. And so we understand now we had to get everybody together. So I never know about the Bucky thing and all of that. But I know who Bucky was.
Right.
And I talked to Claudia and we had to go get Bucky and we had to get the guy named Phillips. And we had to get Juby Pie and Tech Life and Tony Welsh. Tony Welsh wouldn't come to the meetings, but yeah. So we decided, and so we have that team together to do the concert. And I said to Bob, but we can't unite the people, and we don't unite
the politicians.
The wheelers. Right.
Because them time there Peter did and
Peter is one way, Bunny is one way. And so I went out, him said, all right, well, go and see Bunny. So I went out to see Bunny, and because he had a farm out in St. Thomas.
Okay.
And I drive out there. While I was going, because I couldn't miss him van, I had a little brown van with brown and a little, another color, kind of a cream color. Everything he had in that color. So I see him coming and stop him. I made him start talking on the road. And him just get upset with me. Oh, we don't just come to a concert. And then I start and, yeah, Chuck, no, go see the boy, you know. Go up to see him and talk to him and jump in the van and drive off and crash. That make it worse now. Man, him can't even talk after that. Because I wanted to never talk because I come like his knee. So I went back to Bob and told Bob that, okay, boy, what happened? Him said, when you were partying, which one are you? A rat. I said, not me. So that's what fine. So bam, I go to see Peter Tosh. I go to Peter Tosh now.
Stepping razor?
Claude Massop.
Oh, okay.
I asked Peter. At the time I was living somewhere out in Spanish Town, really. Peter come out in the morning and start talking. It's a peace, no peace concert. And look at Claude, him say, the only piece you're going to get is 6'6". So I said, 6'6". Yes. I said, what do you mean 6'6"? I said, 6'6". Rest in peace. 6'6" is the size of a grave. I realize that's what he said. Yeah. Right, and then, all right, so he said, still let me think about it. Right?
Oh, he said he would think about it.
Yeah, man. We'll come back and we'll go to Bob and talk that way and way. Then he said, I have to go talk to the Rasta community. And then I had to go and deal now with Prince Emmanuel. At Boba Shanti. Right, and then we called in Jalod, which was the Federation of Rastafari. And we talked to Gadman, head of 12 tribes of Israel. So we had that, and then he said, you know what? Make the church head this. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah, so had now went for, but he was very close with Abamandefro.
Oh, not familiar with that name.
He's
though.
the head, was the head. He was the man His Majesty Haile Selassie sent to Jamaica to build the church. Right, he's Ethiopian, and Zagai, which is he's like a teacher of the Holy Spirit. So we went. So if you look back at the old poster, you will see it's the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So that is how the whole of that comes
Context
in.
is a beautiful thing in the father
Then, yeah, man. And then we got from Miami a son. The lady was Mary. The name of the son. Decided to bring the son in for the One Love Peace concert. And I got most of my artists now who was with us, Jacob Miller, Ross Michael, CM Berry Salmon with thing there.
Is that Paul?
I think that the melody, the meditation.
Meditations.
I know I'm missing some other people there. But yeah, and had a great One Love Peace concert. And we started at 5 o'clock on the dot. We counted down to 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Cameron Sound was the name of the song. One of the most beautiful sound ever.
Cameron Sound.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they were so beautiful that Bob used them on tour in America after that. Yeah.
You see that piece of history that you just give me, can just get up and go home now, you know?
Yeah, man. And all that I saw, if you look back at that piece of film that was, we see about the One Love Peace concert, was never meant for the One Love Peace concert, you know. That's another story.
That's another story.
Yeah, which I met go into Miami and walking and see some commotion and look on that place and saw some guys filming. And like the man was arrested, what you doing in here? I come and tell them from Jamaica. So they came here to film my concert called, my concert would have been called Reggae Sunsplash.
Reggae.
But I got, yeah, because it was me and Tony Johnson. But what happened, I got Ting, the drink Ting.
Yeah, man, I know what thing.
So we call Reggae Sun and Ting because it was a nice ring. And we had one concert in Savlamar at Paradise Park, right where you would see it there. It's called Heartland Reggae.
Okay.
Right? And you will see Peter Tosh performing there and Inner Circle and thing and whatnot have you, Jacob Miller. And then the same guys sneaked in and did shoot the thing. One thing in my mind, but God was working because that was the footage. And even the pictures that you will see there that Howard Muyong did. Howard Muyong was my graphic artist and photographer. And we got him to come and do the one Love and something. Him said, save. And God said, no, don't shoot no more. I have one roll of film leave and save it. And that is those famous pictures. So when you see Bob Marley came on, and you remember this, and that concert, the whole Holy Spirit take over the place. And you could have seen him got into a spiritual dance when he called on Michael Mandy and Eddie Siaga to come and look at that picture.
So that was not spoken about.
That was never part of the plan. That was never part of the plan. But when you look at it,
one of the most iconic moments where music and politics converge.
Yeah.
And you are the man behind the scenes.
Yeah, man. And one of the
greatness,
man. Another one was when he did Zimbabwe.
We soon get around to Zimbabwe Independence concert.
Yeah.
In 1980, Peace Concert was 78. You also helped Bob in setting up Tough Gang Studios?
What? No. Well, eventually, yes.
Eventually.
Because what happened when I released for Bob, I released
Natty Dread?
Natty Dread and Roadblock.
Roadblock.
And so he gave the album to the other company down Retirement Road. And then he came to me And he said to me, this is after now. Why not? Come and join me, man. Come and join me. And we spoke about the idea because I had all these artists.
Right.
And it was really hard. And I thought this was a good opportunity to create it because it was really hard. Because when you're handling Jamaican artists, it's like each of them is like the whole family. If the mother wants something, they come to the baby mother, whatnot have you. And when Bob opened the opportunity, I said, no, what am I going to do with my artists? He said, bring them come.
Oh, you said to bring them come?
Yeah. So we had a whole plan, and then
Yes.
we had a whole plan to develop Jamaican music and beyond even that. We were going into education and books and school uniforms.
Oh, those were the plans?
Yes, man. And so this studio was now being built. I went there. You see, one of my giftings as such was to get records played on radio. And at one point he was very upset because they wouldn't play his music on radio.
Oh.
So he always wanted me to come now. And that kind of a talent was, my first opportunity knowing that was Duke Reed. Duke Reed asked me to go to the radio stations to get the records played. And so I was there, same thing happened at Dynamics, And now,
so you have the experience, right?
And now Bob Marley said, no, come. So he was coming to the end of, I think, his contract with Island Records.
Okay.
And he was being given other offers, but he had said to me one day he wanted a rest, a long rest. That's another story. He wanted a rest, a long rest.
A long rest.
And took me to show him where he wanted to have that rest. But
where was that?
in St. Anne.
9 miles.
The mountains.
Up in the
mountains. Not exactly 9 miles, but pretty close.
To 9 miles.
Right. But so I went over there and we started there and we started now to develop the whole thing. I was gonna have the whole thing. We had Nadine Sutherland there, We had Judy Mowat had just done Black Woman there. We even had Freddie McGregor on the side there. And then, of course, we had Junior Tucker used to be there with us. And then, of course, Israel Vibration. We're going to go in with all of these people. So, we had a plan, and then he would have sorted himself out. So we really wanted to develop Jamaican music and give it the opportunity that we thought it deserved. So we went there, and like I tell you, we started building the studio. And I was telling him about, he said, I'll tell you this, the end of the day when he finished Redemption song, right? He said he wanted to take a rest. I said, well, I figure he wanted a week.
Right.
So, I'm saying, I want a rest. I want a long rest. And so he asked me, he said he wanted to build something, a house, a cabin type house. Log with
right.
Looking at this house
Natural vibration.
Bob Marley. And so I told him that I knew Evan Williams. Evan Williams, because Evan was an architect. He's an architect. As a matter of fact, he's the one who designed the new Parliament building. He was running Epiphany at the time.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So I knew him because I was in my thing there and I knew him well. And so we decided, so I went with him
To St. Anne.
to St. Anne to look the rest in place. And me and him and, oh boy, there's this Indian guy who went with us too. But anyway, we went and this lady met us, a church lady actually. It was really crazy, walking up this hillside and she had on her heels and her hat and carrying us through and took us up to that place in the hillside. And when we got there, we look at the place, it was an old building was like there before. And there were some ganja plants in it.
A spring up.
Yeah, a spring
A
up.
bad place, man.
And him look at it, him say, oh, them used to have slaves here, you know? And at the same time, there's a beach called Alteri, which he wanted to buy. And the guy who owned it was a guy called something Johnson. He owned Johnson's Drive-In.
Okay.
Was at the corner of Chisholm Avenue and Maxwell Avenue.
Okay.
But Mr. Johnson had owned Alteri and we went there and he says, wow, this is a spot. This is a spot that I want. So I called Evan Williams and started talking to Evan Williams. Inchinali is the guy who went with us.
Okay, yes.
He started now to talk about this whole property and he wanted this entire property that looked all the way down to the sea and he wanted to go into agriculture. He said he wanted the youth now to learn how to feed themselves and he was going to make it into an agricultural place. But he wanted to live up on top there. And it went on until, of course, you know, what was happening with him and the cancer situation.
Yeah. Before we get to that.
Oh man, is so much things to say.
Yeah.
Right
You went on the road with him in 1980 to Europe and then to Africa. That's when the Zimbabwe independence concert came about. What role did you play in that?
Well, in Zimbabwe?
Yes.
Okay. I think we went to Europe first, right? Right. I went to Europe with him because he said I must come to Europe. He said there are some things you don't know, so I need to come to Europe. Okay. Right? I got even, I can show you pictures of got my own whaler's shirt with my name on it and everything and salaried to come like as a tour man.
Bob had the money, I don't have the money yet.
So we went to Europe and Europe was, I understood a different level.
Okay.
A different level of who Bob Marley was now in Europe. When I see, oh man, so much things to say. Because we were at Hope Road one of the nights before and two men came there. Twice two men came to Hope Road. When the first set of guys came and said they were sent there by the Pope. And that the Pope wanted to do a concert with Bob in Paris.
Oh, in Paris, okay.
Right. So we even went to the Vatican along in that trip. But anyway, so we said no. And that same year that we're going to Europe, the Pope was doing a tour of Brazil.
Okay.
So a lot of times in the newspaper in Europe, you would see the Pope on the same page with Bob. There was even one remarkable picture where the Pope is looking down like this, and like he's looking down to an audience, and Bob is looking like this. So you have like the Pope looking down in Bob's face, you know? But we went there and I understood now, when we're in like Paris, there's a police outrider, they don't allow him to stop at stoplights. Because anything can happen. So we even understand that one of the places that we played one time, somebody said, this is the same place the Pope wanted to play with Bob. Because that Pope had loved music in a play with Pope John. And we were in Italy when we see all, in some places, some of the headlines were saying the prophet will be here. We saw where all the militant groups gathered I think in Milano, because they said the leader is coming today.
Oh, yes?
Yes. And there was even one town that we were supposed to go that I think the government sent and paid the money to the promoters for him not to appear because it probably would cause too much chaos. There was another one in that famous stadium that the World Cup football was played, and they showed the empty stadium the morning of the concert. So the King of Reggae performs here tonight, and then the next year they show the full stadium, which means not just the stadium around, but
Where,
the
in
football
Rome?
field.
Or in Milan?
I think it's Milan. Somewhere, yeah.
Probably the San Siro.
Right? And when we had Average White Band, who had about 3 songs in the top 10 at the time. And those people love Bob Marley so much that when Average White Band was on, they just threw eggs. When the police tried to go to their post, just eggs at them. And when the concert was finished, and nobody would leave the stadium, they were driving us out because, the laws.
Right.
You can't just go on. And the soldiers and police had to come out and lift cars and throw them out of the way physically to allow the bus to come out because they locked down like the city, And that was what was happening there for Europe. Zimbabwe sure now is something different.
I can imagine.
You want to go on to that?
Sure, sir.
Oh, yeah. So we were at Hope Road and Papa myself, because this thing with George would keep the fire light. No,
George would keep the fire light, burning through the night.
We would have cornmeal porridge at nights. And we're there having our cornmeal porridge. Gilly Priest. Gilly, not Gilly Priest, Gilly.
Yes, Gilly.
Gilly, footballer, Gilly man. Gilly was making porridge and we're there and we hear a knock on the door. And we went out and we saw these 2 brethren, call them 2 brethren, 2 black men. And I said, boy, looking for Bob Marley. I said, yeah? Yeah. So, boy, we traveled, we went to England, went to Los Angeles, them tell us him in Los Angeles, and now in Jamaica. We're here because we have to find him. I said, yeah? So what is it about? He says, well, we are from Rhodesia, and we are getting our independence, but we want to celebrate it with Bob Marley. I said, yeah. I said, why? I said, well, when we're fighting,
And Bob them listen to.
it's his music that won the war, and we have to tell them. So I said to them, well, so how much money do you have now for me? So we don't have no money. So we went up and tell Bob now, and we talked to them and said, all right, we're going to take care of this. And there's a company called Ale Alec Leslie Enterprise that had done the European tour. So we called them, and Bob said, well, he will pay for it. The plane,
everything.
because the equipment, they don't have that equipment in Africa.
Right.
We have to fly.
So you have to get it flown in.
And so we decided to go. And we took the planes, as I can remember, to go to Zimbabwe, to go to Rhodesia. And I remember some airport there, I went in and saw P.J. Patterson. He was just here sleeping. P.J. was on his way too. And we were going. And we had to take a long route because the short route would have been to go to South Africa. And Bob said, no, we're going to take, because I didn't want to go South Africa. It's like no compromise here. So we went through, and we went to, anyway, we ended up now in South Africa. So what happened in South Africa now, I was asked to get this stage ready. In other words, I had to build a stage for ourselves to get this thing. And so I started out, to build the stage. The first set of men came. I said, well, okay. But I was working. No bath, nothing, no food, nothing. And I said to myself, no, all right, I'm going to get these men together now, understand how to build the stage, and got them now to come and think. So I said, thought to myself, now I'm going to encourage them now. I pay them my money to build the stage. And I said, okay. But I said, yes, boss. And I said, no. I said, all right, I'm going to go and catch a bath. When I come back, nobody. The man them take the money, everybody gone. Right? No, so now I'm in trouble. So I had to call
trouble,
upon
that's true.
the government man, the man, everybody, no one, and work through the night to get the stage ready. So we actually got the stage ready, and so here it is now in Zimbabwe. I mean, you better be ready for this. No?
I am ready for this.
So in Zimbabwe, we decided, now we are watching everything happening. We watch how the leaders come in, and even when they're in the motor cars, they are there, and they're parading, going around, and all the security. First, I'm understanding that these securities run alongside
The vehicle.
the vehicle, you know, and Prince Charles was there. As a matter of fact, there was one airport which we stopped at, and the red carpet was there for Prince Charles, and Bob kind of just back off and didn't want to walk down on the red carpet. So anyway, they were all there, and our time came now to perform, and started the performance. And so I'm there watching, and I decided, so, okay, as usual, I like sound, you know. I always like hear the sound.
Right.
So I decided to go outside. So it's just like our stadium, but I walked along the top of the stadium,
Oh, okay.
not on the ground, on the top, to go to the back, because that was the way I could get back to the stage, and go to the back to hear the sound. And then went to the back, and the wall was like this high, and I hear a commotion. And I looked over, and I said, pow, pow, pow. You don't hear some big sound going off. I said, what is this? And then I looked, I saw men running towards the stadium. I said, what is this? Because I don't understand. And they come and go on a big log, and they start knocking, ramming the door of the stadium. And then, boy, something hit me, and I realized it's tear gas. Tear gas. So I ran back to the thing to tell the guys that there's problems outside there. You know? So I got back to the stage, but by the time I got back to the stage, the tear gas come across the place. But at the same time the tear gas is coming, the people started standing up in the audience and cheering. And I had to get a towel, wet up a towel with water, and try. Ziggy was there.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember if Steve was, but Ziggy was there. I threw the towel on Ziggy. And we understand now what had happened, that behind the stadium was like how you see the arena is outside of our stadium.
Right.
Was the fence for the prisoners of war. And they heard Bob Marley singing and broke down.
Wanted to come inside the stadium.
Yeah. And that was it, because they marched in there, and the crowd who understood who were there gave them a standing ovation. And they came on right down on the field, because you weren't really allowed on the field at that time. And so the concert had to stop. And the concert had to stop. We don't know what happened to I3. I3 gone away.
Yeah.
Judy will tell you that she actually now watching a TV and see the concert start, but and they are not there. And of course, you know, Bob Kane said, no, I know who the true revolutionaries, you know.
Yes.
But we were in a bus until that time now tear gas is all over the place. And even some of the big cannon guns, they started firing them off. And you even, I mean, it was like chaos, you know. You saw planes, like war
planes.
They're dipping in, almost like dipping into
Buzzing.
the stadium. And I mean, it was like, wow, what is all of this? And then there's smoke all over. And we eventually came back and did Africa Unite. Africa
Very
Unite,
important song.
Yeah, dub it in Zimbabwe. And I don't remember what other song we did. So that was one amazing experience. The next day though, we did come back and gather in the stadium.
Okay.
And open it and did a concert for the people. I mean, Bob was so like laid back in that concert, so serious, like no smiles, no nothing. I don't know what was on his mind, but it seemed to have been heavy.
Africa.
So that was Zimbabwe.
History, on top of history, and for that way.
Yeah, man. I mean, the place that we stayed into, oh gosh, with the Minister of Manpower. We stayed at his residence. And I mean, when we walk in, you know, man, two guys in there with gun. And they one said to Bob, Bob said, oh, what's that? What gun that? Yeah. And one said, okay. I think he says like, this is a Russian gun. If you keep it, no, she goes through water, she goes through mud, and you can fire her. I think it's an AK-47. And the other one said, oh, this one, we call it the Rolls Royce. This is a M16. You keep her clean, and she fires beautiful like a pretty girl. She just fires.
Yeah.
He said, Bob said, Russian gun? Yeah. It's an American gun? Yeah. So which one are you fire? An African gun. And the two of them look at each other and say, like, idiot African make gun. You know? But Bob know
what he was
saying,
doing.
you know? It's almost like saying,
Right.
you have two white man gun, I shoot at each black man. You know? So yeah. Yeah, it was like that. I mean, just reflecting back when I saw that when we were going to the East and West German border,
right,
on our tour in thing there, the soldiers come out and look up and say, hey, everybody come out of the bus. And we came out of the bus and we line up. And they said, what? Who are you? What are that? The guy said, Bob Marley. And we like, and soldiers just, and they just
put on the guns.
Yeah, and stood. And I asked, what is that? They said, called laying down arms. When they knew who it was, I mean, it's like, yeah. So that was a really, to us, they always said that was a dangerous man.
Dangerous man.
Yeah, man. Because when you go in Africa, you know, we're going to the bushes, you know, and into the jungle part, you know. The man, them clean up the ground, you know, not the clay.
Bob walk on.
You're from Macomb. I'm here say Macomb. Yeah, and them clean up the huts and the thing and yeah.
Great man, legendary figure in the world. And
Yeah,
and I think too we're still at a stage where I don't know that we as Jamaicans really understood how impactful he was globally. But I guess with time,
yeah, but you know, the
interesting
thing is not even what he was, is what he now is. Because he became, I think, even more impactful after
he died.
He died.
Yeah, man, 100%, man, 100%. He died in.
Because remember after that, you have the album of the century, the song
Exodus.
of the century.
One Love.
The album was sold so many, and even when you had the lockdowns with COVID and with Black Lives Matter, he streamed the most records in those periods, you know.
The great man. He died 81. Where were you at the time? Were you ever in Germany with him at any time whilst he was getting treatment?
No. I was at the company.
Okay.
I was at the company and I was actually talking to him. I spoke with him up to the day, even up to a couple of days before that, because we just keep talking as if he was really hoping that things
would improve,
would change. And you know, we talk about a lot of things, and even there was that's another story of those talks, and even people who thought of having medication and medicine for him. And I remember there was this old lady who I saw where this lady did her whatever portions that she put together and healed so many people of cancer, including people in my family. And when I went to see her to ask her about Bob's situation, and she says, you know, it's so strange. I was sleeping. I don't sleep in the day, but today I fell asleep. And I saw your friend. What happened to his stomach? I said, nothing happened to his stomach. He says, but he has a line right across his stomach. I saw him. And she don't know him. Old Chinese lady. And I said, nothing. I went back to the office and I was calling Bob and he wasn't answering, he wouldn't answer. And the next day I called and somebody answered the phone. I said, boy, yesterday, you know, they had to cut open his stomach right across because he had ate some stuff and it messed up the whole of his intestine. And I said, oh. And he says, I said, okay, that was a dream that she was having, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You did Sunsplash MC work early out as well.
Yes. Yes, I did. I
think I did 81.
Not the very first years, because you know the story was Tony Johnson, like I tell you, went with us to do Reggae Sun and thing.
Right.
And at one of the concerts, he crashed with the Inner Circle. Two of them were racing. I tell Tony, he and I were producing this thing. Come with me. And I couldn't wait on him. And then when I hear, boom, I call Jacob and Tony and Roger Lewis crash. And it kind of brought bad feelings with us. So when they started Sunsplash after that, I was not involved.
Right, okay, understand.
So, and then I think a few years passed and Susie Burke was one who said, no, that guy needs to come and MC Sunsplash.
Mr. Yes, indeed.
I got this. This was another thing from Byron Lee's production.
Okay.
When I used to sing as the Jamaicans. Yeah. After the Jamaicans finished, I like guys like Tony Verity and Charlie Babcock and these guys that were great MCs at the time.
Charlie Babcock.
And they would put me on to MC.
Oh, so I started from them time.
Yeah. And then I started from being in my group. So every show we go on, we have to close the first segment so I could come back on an MC.
Yeah.
So I was asked to do Sunsplash. And then that was a whole history by itself. I think I did over 500 Sunsplash shows across the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so much so that you are widely regarded as one of the greatest MCs in the history of the thing too.
Yes, in thank the Lord.
Yeah. Before we talk about thank the Lord, you see in 1982 you released Kings of Music.
King's Music.
The King's Music.
Yes.
Who are on that in terms of artists?
Oh, the King's Music was just me.
You.
Sorry, and my wife.
And I think Beres also put some backing vocals.
Beres was our backing vocal. He was a backing vocals. So Carly.
Yeah.
And everything that we did was Beres, man.
King's music now had some of the greatest musicians around at the time on it. Robbie Lynn, Willie Lindo, Dean Fraser,
tell me, yeah.
Lloyd Parks,
Yeah.
Zane, and Bongo Herman.
Yeah.
Great people.
Yeah, man. Dean Fraser is part of our history, and so is Bongo Herman and Robbie Lynn. But Dean Fraser, when we discovered Dean Fraser did his first song for us, Blue Moon.
Blue Moon, yes.
Right. We call him Youth Sax.
Youth Sax, yeah,
I
man.
never know what to call him. But he was just his youth, so we call him
Youth Sax.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
All right.
The King's Music, and Carlene was the vocalist accompanying me.
1996, you converted to Christianity.
I'm not sure if I would say I converted to Christianity.
You returned.
Christianity was always my foundation.
Okay.
I think I rededicated myself to Christianity because, like I tell you, I was growing up in a Christian home. I really didn't know anything else. In my search out there in Maxwell Park, and even Skillcool, I met in Maxwell Park at one point, and Skillcool was a great teacher of mine, even though he's probably a little younger than me. But anyway, getting into Maxwell Park was a really got all of the teachings. Like I said, the Baba and the Dada, whatnot for you. But then we learned of Black Power. So at that time we were talking Black Power. So I was listening, them used to call man and men. We the younger one were called men. No, boy. Little boy.
Yes.
And Ben Broody and these other guys, knowledgeable guys were there talking more Black Power. So we learned about Stokely Carmichael, Eldridge Cleaver, Martin Luther King,
Marcus, I suppose.
Marcus Garvey, and of course Haile Selassie within the mix of everything. So out of that grew my search for what was happening, listening to them, and yes. So leaning towards Rasta in the sense of now trying to embrace Rasta for what it is, because what I loved about Rasta was when they said that man cannot die. I said, man can't die, I want to know about this more. But as I embraced the Rasta teachings and understood the culture and the part about your color and your heritage and all of that, what I was finding is that within Rasta, there is a teaching. What is Rasta? For me, Rasta, the teachings of His Majesty, because it was about Rastafari.
Right.
Rastafari, Makanen. And then, but the more that I tried to find him, is the more he was pointing to Jesus. Because then I got into his teachings that kept saying things like, for whatsoever language the Bible is written, it remains one and the same. It's a guide to your past, your present, and your future. Within it, you find the truth for yourself. What other book would you find such compassionate words, speaking of the Bible? For yourself, what other book you find such compassionate words as those that says, come unto me, all who are labored and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And, and of course, equality and injustices, like Bob sang, everywhere is war, until the philosopher which was one race superior and another inferior is finally and totally abolished and abandoned. The world shall know no peace. And of course, other things that says that a man's life without Christ is like a rudderless ship. When it comes up on the torrents of life, he shall be smashed into small pieces. What's life without Christ? And so, as I went on to that, I got to realize and understand that the amount of churches that His Majesty had established and what he was doing through the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the teachers and priests that he had sent to establish the church And when Abaman Defro, who revealed me to the baptism of Bob Marley, of how Bob was baptized, and I said to him, Abba, when you got him baptized, explain, he said it was in New York, and he sent for him, and he had his wife there. And I think it's one of the things that people do not like to speak about Bob Marley, or have the least thing that they focus on is about this baptism into the Christian faith. And I said to Abba, what did you say to him finally? And he said, do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and you ask for your forgiveness of your sins? And he said, yes. And he said, well, I'm going to baptize. And Bob said, wait. And he went into what he would call into his whole grief and confession. And he said for hours and hours, Bob wept. And after about two days, he says, yes, I am ready. I'm ready. And he sent now for the children and Rita, and he baptized him in the name of his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. In that was that foundation, and that's why it says my recommitment to Christ, because as a young man I would go to Youth for Christ. I was growing up in the church as a Youth for Christ every Saturday night when everybody's going to party, and then along that, and I decided to, my wife got diagnosed with cancer, right? And that point, she says, no, I'm finished with this. I'm stopped running from him, I'm gonna run to him. And she decided that she was gonna do everything from then on. And immediately after she did that, you had Chevelle Franklin, Papa San, Junior Tucker, name it.
I think when you recommitted, you were around Church on the Rock at the time?
Yes, Church on the Rock. Yes.
And a few years later, in 1998, you and Carleen created Vessel Ministries.
Yes. Yes, her ministry is called Vessel.
Vessel, right.
And we created Vessel inside of Glory Music.
Oh, okay. So Vessel was created inside of...
Yeah, her ministry is called
Vessel.
Yeah, even her musicians were called Vessel Band and all of that. So
Okay. And Glory Music is...
the head.
The head. Okay. Also in that, you guys opened Judah Recording Studio.
Yes.
That is still ongoing?
Yes, in the sense, but it's more like a personal studio.
Okay.
But we had open to the public at that time.
Okay. And somewhere along that line now, you became an ordained minister of the gospel. Yes? So you preach, actually? Preach?
I've preached on occasion.
On occasion.
In England and all of that.
Okay.
I don't know if a preacher is never recognized in his own country, so. But I've done a few. But what I really did was really to study to show myself approved, as the scripture would have required.
Okay.
So my wife and I, she actually studied at with the University of South Florida.
Okay.
And they gave me an honorary doctorate from there. I've also, and herself, been part of the Ron Connolly Academy of Praise.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, which,
Yes.
have certified us. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
But then we had Glory Music,
Right.
which purpose is really basically to know Christ and let Christ be known, but it's to spread the gospel. So that is what I always say to myself, let me tell you this, the most disciplined musician I've ever met is Bob Marley.
The most disciplined musician you have ever met is
after
Bob
that
Marley.
my wife, and to some
Carleen.
extent. Yeah.
Lady
But
Carleen.
I said what I did for the king of reggae, it was quite amazing. but know what I do for the King of Kings and the Lords of Lords.
It's even greater.
Yes.
In 2014, you conceptualized the biggest gospel concert in the history of gospel concerts locally, Fun in the Sun. Big event,
Yes.
world event.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I think in 2014, you guys were voted best gospel event by Wheel of Gospel International.
Yes, but it was in was in 2002.
2002 it started?
Yes.
So I missed 24. Oh, I saw
2014
2014.
was Portmore, and we had many before that.
Oh.
We had Ocherous, we had Montego Bay, we had Huey more than once.
So why am I
We had
2014 in
several-
my head?
Because that was 100,000 persons. And
So 2014 was one of the big ones then.
was really big. Hezekiah Walker was here, and it was an amazing
You went that
event.
one?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, she said she got something there. Then be gospel extravaganza.
Yes, them big gospel extravaganza.
Get some blessing in our life.
Yeah, Fun in the Sun.
Me should then come.
Fun in the SO.
Oh, Ed, son, yeah, man. That would have also helped now to bring many gospel artists to the masses.
Yes.
So it's not just, sharing the word through gospel, but it's also creating a platform for entertainers and members who preach the gospel to be exposed.
Yes, we believe that we can bring a change to our country and to make it a better place and to people's lives through our Fun in the Sun. So we try to make this presentation of the gospel something of excellence, Also, we'll say first, we want people hearing properly, so we have the best sound here. Because
Realize you're into sound,
Yeah, man, faith comes by hearing.
Yes. So the sound have a good.
Yes. Faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God.
Yes.
Yeah, and Fun in the Sun continues. Have you seen, we have had many awards.
Many
for
awards,
for
yes.
Fun in the Sun.
Seeing them.
And we have Fun in the Sun. We have done it in Haiti.
Okay.
We have done several years in Haiti. Right now there are certain problems in Haiti
Right.
that we can't
Quite a
really
few.
go to Haiti. We have done Fun in the Sun. We still do it in New York. It's on the 5th of August coming up in New York. We have done the Fun in the Sun community engagement, which is to go into communities and try to change it. The last time we did it in St. Andrew South, which that division is one of the worst. Problematic. They have 71 gangs in South St. Andrew, and we also work with the police in their recruitment drive. We have health and medical services out there and giveaway of clothes and school bags, etc. We do that a lot in New York too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, massive amount of giveaways. And every week, the church, New Testament church that we associate with, have giveaways of over 300 families every week in New York. And so that continues.
What keeps you going though, Father Tommy?
God. With them all things are possible, you know what I mean?
Because you are a big man.
Yeah,
Big man.
No, when you see,
And you're still sprightly
you
and...
wouldn't like know what you see here. This body here is just God save it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of times I don't even want to say the enemy because sometimes I don't even want to give me recognition. But the goodness of God in my life, even to keep me alive, people don't understand what I go through. I've had 4 bypass surgeries.
Yes?
Yeah. I've had cancer of stomach, moved parts of it. My leg here, they've taken out the veins of my leg and put into my heart. Yeah, that's what keeps me here. It's me here. You know what I mean? It's not easy, man.
That can't easy.
Prostate cancer come down on me. I mean, come on, man. God is good. Come on, somebody.
All the time.
Somebody ought to say hallelujah. God is still the healing God of yesterday. He's the healing God of today. And he's going to be the healing God of tomorrow. Put your faith in him. It's not over until he says it's over. And he says his plans for you is to prosper you and keep you in good health. Right now I walk 2 miles a day. Yeah. So, and I'm not over with it, man, because I have my purpose to fulfill. And when you find purpose in your life, believe me, man, that's it, man. It is everything.
Everything.
What were you? You know, most people you look at him and you say to them, why are you here? They don't know, you know. But you see, the two most important days in your life is the day you were born and the day you know why you were born. And when you know why you were born, no time limit, no nothing. You see, a man can fire you from your job, but you can't fire you from your work. Because when God put you here to work and replenish the earth and have dominion over it. No guy can't take that from you. No guy can. When an old lady look at you, like my friend Bob said, and an old lady say, God bless you, my son. No guy can't take it to you.
The guy can't take it with you.
No.
You are also somebody who your work has been recognized, and as such you would have been conferred in 2008 with an Order of Distinction.
Yes.
Very well deserved, sir.
Thank you.
Your contribution to the music has been and continues to be immense. And a lot of things me just learned, but add to that today, just now, because some of the things where you say,
yeah.
Whoa, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Greatness,
well,
man.
To God be the glory, you know, because I tell you something, you know, it's not easy and it's not all rosy, but he provided me with a wonderful woman.
Amen
and
to that.
Give me peace of mind, you know, peace
That
of
there's no greater peace than that, sir.
Man,
Peace.
yeah, man, and I really have to give thanks to my wife, Colleen. Them call her Colleen Davis. She really name Colleen COWAN.
If you can say Colleen COWAN, she name it.
But you know, true, let me know it's
Colleen
Colleen
Davis.
Davis.
Yes.
But yeah, man.
You were also given the an Icon of Reggae Award.
Oh yes.
Very deserving.
Thank you.
Very deserving. Yeah. You know, you get some gold medal run at some part and some jammy and some all sort of things.
Yeah.
All of them are thoroughly deserved,
Yeah,
sir.
Gleaner Award.
Gleaner an award
And
for entertainment.
A lot of them, man.
A lot of proclamation and citations and
Yeah.
them some very deserving, man. And also now the musical genes has transcended generations, because we're seeing Naomi doing great things.
Yeah.
Great things.
Yes.
And I think Nathan is also
Yes.
because he goes on the road with
Different people.
different people.
I mean, he used to be out there with Damian Marley and all of that, but he works with governments all across the Caribbean and over the place. Because, you know, something I've learned about life. Success is not with you. Success is in your successor. If your dreams die with you, it's a failure. It's who you can pass it on to. So that my daughter named
Your success
Shakisha,
is for your successor.
Shakisha, you see there now,
Yeah.
she's doing the Glory Music Works.
Okay.
So if I ever think say it's without me,
No.
no man.
So there's continuity.
You have to. If your dream dies with you, it's a failure.
Failure.
And success is not in you. Success is in your successor. Yeah. Where did I get those stuff from? You know, one of the things that I must mention here, that my teacher, I think my number one teacher, the late Dr. Miles Monroe.
Miles, okay. Okay.
I went to Third World Leadership conferences and with him over there in the Bahamas. And I've learned so much from him. So a lot of the things I say is what I learned from that.
And a lot of things that you say are steeped in wisdom, man, as simple as they are, you know, very profound.
Yes.
You have been in the music sphere, space, landscape from a long time now, yeah? Musically speaking, though, when you reflect on the journey, what is that thing or those things that give you a great sense of joy to say, yes, you know, I was a part of that, I was there?
Well, I think the most joyful thing I would have experienced about music. I know some of the experiences has been great. But one of the things, there's so many things, so much things to say. But there's just that whole journey, because I appreciate, say the joy, but even the sorrows I appreciate, because the sorrows and the joys come together to make you what you are.
True that.
Without those pains, you wouldn't really have the feeling of things, because you see so much. But it's really hard to say, because you're into a time now, and into a season where that Sunsplash season was a great season, right? Our period that we are going through now with Fun in the Sun is a great season. Even to watch even the development of certain cultural aspects of the business now, and how government look at it, and we pray for them to be doing the right thing, because when we look at a Babsy Grange and her impact in it, if God uses her the right way, then we're going to have a better country, because through music we can change everything. Through music we can have a better Jamaica, not by the laws, not by the building of more technology for crime, but of the renewing of the mind. And this, if you understand the impact that music have on our people and our children. My grandson, I give the Lord so much thanks for Noah, because Noah now singing gospel songs already. But I've seen other young children who you don't know where they have it. The parents don't play the music, but you hear them singing some of the songs, and you say, wow, this is not taking them anywhere, right? Because music is a vibe. Music is a vibe that's going around the four corners of the world. And I hope that through this music that we have, and especially reggae music, you were saying my album was called The King's Music, The King of King's Music. But at that time I was really talking about Haile Selassie, the King's music. But then I got to learn that he worships a king higher than himself. And so I ascribe this to that King of Kings. But reggae in itself is a musical vibe, going to the four corners of the world, uniting people of all race, class, color, creed, and religion. We must unite the world through music, unite our thoughts through music. And musicians, especially in gospel, must understand that the gospel music, God is your audience, not me, the performer, and the people. Then God help us to put it together. God is your audience. That is why when Moses came out of the Red Sea with the children of Israel, they sang as unto God. And you read that, and that was the first song in Exodus 15. Bob Marley made the song. Oh gosh, Exodus was an amazing song. But in Exodus 15, we read where they sang unto God. And right in Revelation, where Revelation is not fulfilled yet, you're still seeing where it's predicted that the people are singing the songs of Moses to God. So music is life, man.
Dr. Thomas Lincoln Cowan, great man. You would have done greatness not only for yourself and your family, but for the music. And the man's contribution to the music is, as I said, is immense, and you continue to do so. For what the man has done and what you continue to do, you know? is amazing work. Dr. Thomas Cowan, OD.
Amen.
With a drop off that card that is deserved.
Yes,
we appreciate the history lesson, man. These are the things that we love. Yeah, that's right. We know time is a constraint, but you said it's a part one.
Part one.
So we look forward to the next installment.
Yes, indeed. We look forward
yes,
to
indeed,
that.
Mr. Yes, indeed.
And you are blessed indeed.
Blessings, blessings.